Just leaving the cabin now. It's been a fun 48 hours of nerf. I think we've filmed over 18 nerf videos and probably played over 30 games just because we wanted to keep playing when the batteries were charging and stuff. Today is Monday. I'm driving home from Big Bear. We're gonna meet Jenny and Adley at Disneyland this week, so we can't do a live stream, so instead I've made this really long but super awesome video. The table of contents for this video are as follows. I'm gonna show you guys one of my actual talks from start to end. It's gonna be kind of long. Maybe you'll think it's interesting or entertaining. If not, I'm also going to be speaking about the space station, all the businesses that are happening at the space station. Why are there so many new people? What are we doing? What is all the business stuff in Shonduras? That's gonna be at the very end of the video, so if you don't want the talk but you do want that, skip to like, I don't know, the end of the video when you see me back outside not speaking anymore. Okay, but what is the talk and why am I showing you this? Like, let's go over that right now. A little bit of a timeline for you guys. Started on Snapchat, just making really cool stories, doodles, super fun. The way I made Snapchat a job for me was I partnered with brands to tell their story in like a creative, funny way. Then we jumped over to YouTube, a little less on the creativity and doodle side and more on the storytelling. And when you work with a brand, you really gotta do something amazing, extra cool, and make the brand kind of be the hero of that moment. And that's how I made money on YouTube. Well, like the fraction of a penny if you watch the ad before my videos, but mostly with these really cool partnerships of like brands and people that I wanted to support by creating really cool content that kind of help tell their story. If you're wondering why you keep hearing hammers and nails and generators, this guy's like building a deck while I'm trying to film this intro, so sorry about that, just kind of ignore it. So while I still do Snapchat and YouTube, a big part of all of this stuff that I've just completely fallen in love with is digital marketing, like how to best partner with a brand or a sponsor to create really cool content and also tell a cool story so that you guys understand what they do and why I support them, and then helping the brand enable the creator just to do rad stuff. I mean, we've had some really cool best days ever with Red Bull and Samsung and B&H Photos sending us cameras. We have lots of really cool partners, and that's how I'm able to like do this cool stuff with you guys. Best day ever, travel, create content, support my family. Alright, this intro is getting kind of long, but this video is more about the business side of Shonduras and the space station, and I'm going to share with you guys one of my talk. The talk is very targeted towards people that work within digital marketing or creators, people that want to be influencers and create cool content. So whether you guys are creatives or in the digital media marketing business side and you want to learn more, or if you're the third type of person who just thinks this is interesting and wants to learn more about what the best days ever are all about and what I'm up to, here's the talk I gave last week at VidSummit. Whenever I'm giving a talk, I try really hard not to just have a planned presentation with PowerPoints that I just go through. I try and have like 5 to 10 bullet points that I want to touch on, and then I just talk. I say what I think is relevant for the audience. The following talk is 100% built off of real experiences I've had with Snapchat, YouTube content creation, working with brands, helping people build out campaigns. Exactly what does social media marketing look like for me as someone who's both a creator and on the business side. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you don't want to hear the talk, but you do want to hear about all the businesses in the space station, you should just skip forward like, I don't know, 40 minutes or something. I think it was a long talk, sorry. Enjoy. Oh man, I love this, you guys. I love being up here. I love speaking. I love talking about this stuff, especially strategy stuff. I said earlier, I'm like a strategy rat. Like, I love this stuff. I have an entire notepad here of things that I want to tell you. 2 pages worth. It's because I get distracted really easy, so this is here. If I start to get distracted, I'll reel it in for you. So I just came back from Tennessee, and it was an amazing trip. It was on eSports business. People that get paid to play video games professionally, incredibly crazy. Gary talked about it a little bit. It's incredible. The interesting thing about Tennessee is they have 10 gig internet, which you guys in the room can appreciate that, 10 gigs of internet. Literally, we were uploading like 120 streams, uploading to Twitch on the same internet at the same time. That's like uploading 120 YouTube videos at the same time, but even more intensive, and it worked. It was really crazy. That has nothing to do with my talk, though. There was a, see, I got sidetracked already with the 10 gig thing. The story goes, I'm heading to Tennessee. This is a story that didn't make it on the best day ever. It was kind of a weird story that was unexpected, but I want to share it with you guys. I left my house at 5 in the morning. I looked like a strategy rat when I left the house. I had like my sweats on and my hoodie, and I'm getting out of Utah, so I have my beanie on and the hood, and I'm all wrapped up and wish I could stay home and eat cereal, get in the car, get in the airplane, fly a really long time. I had to do a layover in Atlanta, Georgia before going to Tennessee on this tiny little plane that's like the size of a school bus. And I'm in Atlanta, Georgia, waiting for my plane to take off. And I walk up to the gate, and there's just this huge crowd of dudes. Like, we're talking business dudes, like bald guys with responsibility and good credit scores, and they're just freaking out and fangirling right now. Like, it looks like VidCon for old dudes with good credit scores. And I'm like, what's going on? And I kind of look around, and there's like, you know, this like sterling statue in the middle, this guy with like fluffy white hair, and he's smiling, like kissing babies, and just like, he's the perfect guy. And I'm like, I wonder who that is. I sit down, start playing on my phone. Guy comes over, he's like out of breath. Oh, man, you know who that was? Sits next to me, he's like, dude, that's the U.S. Senator of Tennessee or something. I actually don't know what he was, but it's something like that. And I'm like, wow, politics, cool, important guy. And then I'm like, oh, I kind of want to go say hi to him, but I look like a strategy rat right now. Like, I'm all like hooded up in sweats and stuff. And so I was like, oh, I'm not going to go say hi. So I'm sitting there on my phone doing my thing, and I hear him call his wife. He's like, baby, you're not going to believe it. Shook his hand, grabbed like up by the elbow, shook it hard, like he's such a good guy. He looked at me and winked, like, oh, it's amazing. I was like, man, this guy's loving it. Like, this is an important guy, apparently. So I'm sitting there. We got like 10 minutes till the plane boards. Look across the hallway. We got a Chick-fil-A there. I'm like, delicious Chick-fil-A. Fun fact, I gave the opening speech at the Chick-fil-A corporate kickoff meeting this year, so that was really cool. I really like Chick-fil-A. And so I go and I grab my sandwich. I usually just get a sandwich, not a big potato guy. And I guess in the airport, they always try and like rickroll you with stuff. Like, it's always more expensive, and like they only do combos. Like, I couldn't just get the sandwich, so I had to get like the sandwich and the fries and the sauce and everything, put it in a bag, wrap it up, run back over to my flight. And they say, first class, priority, whatever's now boarding. Guys, I don't pay for first class. I always pay for main cabin, but when you're in the air as much as I am, you always get bumped to first class just because of the whole diamond medallion, whatever thing. So I go up there, scan my ticket. They're like, oh, Mr. McBride, you got bumped. I was like, sweet, cool, quick flight. You know, first class still feels super tight. There's like the little seats and you're close together. Like, first class in this little bus plane was like main coach in any other plane, whatever. I'm up there, get on the plane, do my picture with the pilot. That's kind of my thing. I love getting pictures with the pilots. Sit down in my seat. You know, I've got 5 more minutes of cell service before we take off, so I'm grinding out a couple last emails, sending, you know, Slacks to my guys back at home base, like, how are we looking on this deal? What's going on? And, you know, go to post a picture of me and the pilot, like, everything's great. And I'm like, oh, man, I want to eat. You know, we start getting ready to take off on the runway. I'm like, oh, I haven't eaten all day. Like, now it's like 1 or 2 in the afternoon-ish, and I'm just ready to dig into this Chick-fil-A. I grab my bag, I'm so excited, I open it up, and just this wave of like greasy fries, fast food, Disneyland, like just comes out, and I was like, well, that was a little intense. Like, I'm like a little embarrassed at this point. Like, am I gonna fill the plane with like fries smell, you know? It's a little weird because it was a small plane. I was like, oh, this is kind of uncomfortable. I'm in my own world. Like, when I get on the phone, I'm in my own world doing business. I open this bag, I was like, oh, this is weird. Like, am I gonna bug people? So I like kind of crumple it up, and I start to look around me. Sterling statue right next to me, Mr. U.S. Senate. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I look so silly. Oh my gosh, he probably thinks I'm homeless. And like, I felt really weird. I'm like, well, I can't open this bag of food in front of him. Like, he's on his iPad, like reading about some new bills that are about to be passed and swiping elegantly. I'm like, I can't open a bag of fries in front of this guy and start eating fast food in my sweats. So I was like really weirded out, and I really didn't have the courage to eat my fast food in front of this guy. Like, he's probably gonna be a statue in some important city someday. I can't do it. So I crumple up my food, and I put it down the corner. I'm just like, oh man, this is gonna be a long flight. I'm starving. I like start to reach for my headphones, and like I don't wanna like bump him, close seats, and I'm like trying to get them out of my pocket. I can't. They're like all tangled up, like with my belt loop. Who knows what was going on? I couldn't get them. I was like, oh, this is too awkward to board. I don't want to make it weird, so I boarded the headphone mission. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Pull out my phone, and I start using the air chat thing. Have you guys done a lot of you guys who travel a lot, air chat? You can like, you don't have to buy the Wi-Fi on the airplane. You basically just like can chat at home with whoever you want. So I start chatting my wife, and you can play games on air chat. There's like the tic-tac-toe and the cross-4 and like all those games. So we're just kind of playing games. Flight was only like 50 minutes long, so it went by super fast. Air chat with my wife, had a good time. Finally, we land. I don't even make eye contact with the guy. Like, I'm not shaking his hand or anything. I just feel like a strategy rat. Get off the airplane, and I like go to open up my bag. I'm like, okay, it's still there. Call my Uber, get in the car. I just like enjoy this slightly cold, soggy, yet delicious Chick-fil-A sandwich. And I'm eating, and I'm like, man, well, that's best day ever stuff right there, right? Like, that's my life. And it was an interesting experience. What do you guys think about that story? Did you like it? Was it pretty good? Yeah? Yes? Okay, cool. Did anyone not like it? Was anyone bothered by it? Did it bug anyone? You didn't like it. Okay, anyone else, like, you didn't like the story that much? Okay. So a couple hands didn't like it or whatever. That story was the perfect sponsored video for my YouTube channel that could have been for AirChat. AirChat is not a thing. It's not a real app. You can't download it. But the way that I plugged that in there of like this crazy situation, I told the story, I painted the picture, I got you guys involved in the story, and then, AirChat came in and saved the day, and it made the ride not miserable, like landed quickly. If it was a real brand deal, maybe I go a little bit harder, like, well, plane ride saved or whatever. Like, that could have been a brand deal for AirChat, and my audience would have been like, sell out brand deals, why are you doing this? Like, they loved the story, it had a funny meaning, it was actually pertaining to what was happening, like, AirChat would have saved that situation if it existed. If anyone wants to go for that, just give me some royalties, but go ahead and make it. That could have been an incredible brand deal for my YouTube channel, in which I made AirChat the hero. I think everyone thinks a brand deal is something where you're bothering your audience with something. It's a commercial, taking them out of your good content and pitching something. You make it part of the good content. You make the brand the hero that helped you have that amazing story, that amazing video that day. Let's switch it around again. Maybe that's a brand deal for Chick-fil-A. Maybe it's like, I get the Chick-fil-A and I'm like, oh, that delicious smell. I couldn't wait to eat it. But like, statue next to me, like I didn't want to like weird him out with junk food, so I like waited till the end. Don't call it junk food, probably. Wait till the end, and then I'm like, dude, that sandwich was delicious, even cold. Like if Chick-fil-A is even good cold, this is my restaurant. You know what I mean? Like maybe it's a brand deal for Chick-fil-A. Maybe it's a brand deal for Uber. I tell that whole story, and then like I got in my Uber, I was starving, sandwich was soggy, and I was like, dude, where's the best place to eat? He gave me an awesome recommendation, took me there. I invited him in to eat with me. I had dinner with my Uber driver. It was amazing. I love Uber. These are personal people with real lives that are awesome guys that you get to know. Like Uber's amazing. Like maybe it's a brand deal for Uber. Like there's 3 or 4, maybe even more possibilities on how that story could have been an incredible brand deal for a bunch of different things. And in all those scenarios, I think that, you can't please everyone. There were 4 to 6 people in the audience that were like, that was a weird story. I didn't like it. I really like politics. And you made fun of that guy. I wasn't making fun of him. I just didn't. I felt nervous around him. Anyways, but you'll always have people that kind of don't like what you're doing. But think about your videos. Even if they're not branded, you always have 4 to 6 people that are like, I don't like that you did that. That was wasteful. You wasted a fry or food or something like that. Like, you're always going to have those people that don't like it. So if you can make your branded content elevated, if you can make the brand the hero, the reason that your content is so awesome, no one's going to complain about you doing branded content. Does that make sense? Okay, so let's get into the talk now. That's just kind of a little example. When we're talking about this stuff, it's not just for brand deals. When we're talking about this perception, the way people perceive you, the way people perceive your content, it pertains to anything. In that sense, it was a brand deal. It made you guys perceive that brand as something cool, someone that saved the day in my story. It could also be a collab. If I'm going to collaborate with some of you, which I've collaborated with some of the people in this room, it's not just like, oh, I'm doing something cool. Hey, go check out this guy's channel. He does stuff too. It's like, find a way that because I'm with this person, today's even better because they're teaching me X, Y, Z. Because I came over here and visited this person, we're going to do this because they have the connections, or they have this crazy idea to do this. So we're going to do it today, and he's the guy that knows how to do it. Like, make that collab. Make him the hero of your video, and people will want to go follow him and learn more. And in return, when you're doing a collaboration, you build that same kind of ecosystem with the person you're collaborating with so that they give that same push to you. The last thing you want to do is do a collaboration where you make someone a hero and then they do the like, and check out this guy, he does YouTube videos too. Like, you got to figure out what that looks like. A lot of my favorite collaborations, my most successful collaborations have come from just that. I get on the same page, I'm like, what should we do? What's the reason people are going to want to check you out? How can I make you cooler than like you even are? Like, how could we like make each other the heroes? You know what I mean? Like, so it's brand deals, it's collaborations, it's your own personal content. If you want to push people from your YouTube to your Instagram account, saying, go follow my Instagram account, just posted a lit picture, go fire it. Like, that doesn't work. You got to give them a reason. You got to make your Instagram story, your Instagram picture, your story, whatever, the hero of that content. Like, oh my gosh, you guys won't believe what happened. Like, okay, pause the video, just video pauses, and then you just hear the audio, and it's like, go check out this Instagram picture so you understand what this story is about right now. It's really good. Links in the top of the description. And then they go click on it and they see a picture of me and like Sterling Senator and stuff. And then like, okay, that was weird. Maybe they follow me on Instagram. I got them to Instagram, got the like, whatever. And then they're back on the video. I'm like, okay, so did you like my Instagram picture already? If you didn't, shame on you, but do it at the end of the video because you need to see what I'm talking about. And then you tell that whole story. And then at the end of the video, how many of you would love to see a picture of me and this dude right now? A ton of you, right? Because it would really paint that picture. I mean, sorry, I didn't actually take a picture. I was actually nervous. That was a real story. But had I taken a picture and told that story, that would have been a great push over to my Instagram account, not because I told people to do it, because that was the hero piece of my content. That was like the cornerstone that brought it all together, right? So as we talk about this stuff, it's brand deals, it's ads, it's collaborations, it's your own personal content. Like, that's what you got to think about. It's how people perceive the message you're trying to convey. If you want people to, if you're doing a call to action, how do people see that call to action? Next bullet point. All right, so I want to give you guys a couple examples of this stuff that I've used in my own content. Snapchat. I learned this from like the very beginning of when I started Snapchat. I knew that Snapchat has no AdSense. It was a new platform. I was really pitching people being able to tell their story and do branded content on Snapchat. If you heard earlier, me and Gary Vee literally did the first ever Snapchat brand deal together, and it worked out incredibly. Like, we were partners from the very beginning with that. He had faith in me. He had no idea what this was all about. Like, I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I knew about Snapchat before Gary Vee did, so, okay. But we got on the same page with it. He's like, I think this could work. We ended up doing it. It was incredible. I was like, I need to find a way to make the brand the hero more. Like, I need to build out more of these opportunities to tell these stories and include brands. If you guys have seen Instagram stories or Snapchat stories that are branded, it's a little difficult because it's very hard to get those organic, natural moments in 10 seconds, like, oh, I'm surprising my wife with this, and I just happen to be filming awkwardly right now, and I get it right at the 10 seconds. Like, it's a little bit weird. You need to have these opportunities to present the brand as a hero. So I built out Free Stuff Friday. Essentially, my goal was every Friday, I wanted to make the most awesome Snapchat story, the coolest content. The day I really engaged with my fans, I open all their snaps, I snap them back, I follow them on Twitter. Like, that's what fans love. They love that engagement. And while I'm always engaging and I always care about my fans, Fridays were Free Stuff Fridays where I literally opened every snap. I had my sisters on duty. I paid them in pizza to like every single Instagram post that I was tagged in, every single tweet I was mentioned in. And Fridays were these awesome Free Stuff Fridays. And the real kicker, every Friday my fans could win free stuff, you know, if you didn't get that from the name. So every Friday it was like, let's take an example. B&H Photos in the crowd. There's someone that I absolutely love. I've done a ton of stuff with them. Say me and B&H Photo are doing a Free Stuff Friday. It's like, all right, B&H Photo, guys, draw. If you could have anything in the world from B&H Photo, you can look on their website, whatever, what would it be? I want you to draw. I'm going to post some of my favorite drawings on my Snapchat story, and then you guys screenshot which ones you like, and at the end of the day, I'm going to choose 5 of those people that made on my Snapchat story to get that free stuff that they drew from B&H Photo. And everyone's like, wow, that's amazing. So they start drawing me stuff. I'm like, oh, here's a couple examples. Boom, boom, boom. They start drawing. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is incredible, so much stuff. And then, you know, I'm going to go on a sidetrack here. How do we build up engagement and do this even better? Oh my gosh, guys, I'm getting so many Snapchats. I wish I could see them all. Like, I literally can't open them fast enough. You guys are incredible. If you really want me to see your picture and I didn't get to your Snapchat, put it on Twitter or Instagram and just use the hashtag B&H. Or Shonduras B&H, or something like that. Like, I make up a hashtag, and now the conversation of me and B&H is translating to Twitter. It's translating to Instagram, and fans are following me on those platforms because they want me to see the stuff. They're tagging me. Their fans or their friends are seeing, like, who's the Shonduras guy? What's the B&H thing? And how do I win a camera? How do I win a webcam? How do I win a gaming chair? Like, whatever it is. And so now the conversation's even further, and everyone's hopping on board, and now B&H is extra hyped because they thought they were getting a Snapchat deal, and all of a sudden this thing's all over Instagram and Twitter. What happens when I go, hey, B&H, I got an idea to work together again? They're hyped out of their eyeballs, and they want to work together again. Like, you got to over-deliver on this stuff, whether it's a collab or a brand deal. If you over-deliver, they want to do it again. They want to collaborate with you again. There's YouTubers I've collaborated with, like, 15 times. Like, me and What's Inside, we're bros. We've literally collaborated on 15 videos because we have so much fun doing it. So, returning from the sidetrack, I've got the Snapchat story. I tell my audience to screenshot the things. 24 hours later, I'm like, oh my gosh, so many good entries. Maybe I posted 15 of their snaps to my story. Here's the 5 that were the absolutely most screenshotted by you guys. You voted. Boom, boom, boom. Congratulations to the winners. Send me snaps. We're going to send out your free B&H stuff. Like, this was awesome. If you didn't win anything, no worries. You know I hit you with that like. I liked all the video. Like, I liked all the pictures. You guys are so creative. Blah, blah, like, insert whatever kind of text you want right here. Come back next Friday, and we're going to do it again. I can't wait to see what we do. Like, and every Friday it's a game. Maybe it's like we draw. Maybe it's a guessing game. Maybe it's like a caption contest. Like whatever it is, every Friday was fun and it was engaging, and it gave me a reason to tell a brand story. During this period of time, I did brand deals every single Friday. I started building out my team where if I'm making money every Friday, I have money or the leverage to get an intern or employee to start hunting those deals. Or I started reaching out to agencies. Hey, I'm doing Free Stuff Friday. Here's a pitch deck. Let's get a brand involved. Check out the engagement I've got so far. This many tweets on the hashtag, this. And then brands were lining up. For probably 5 to 7 months straight, I did a brand deal every single Friday. That's dope. That's really cool. Yeah, thank you, whoever clapped. Gives me a perfect time to look at my next note. So that's one example on Snapchat. After like a year and a half of Snapchat, I was like, man, I love this Snapchat stuff, super engaging, but you gotta diversify. Remember what Gary just said? You gotta be going to the next thing immediately. Like when you're in the height of what you're doing, be looking at the next thing already. If you get to your height and then start to slow down, it's a lot harder to get to that next thing. But if you're at your height right here, you're at the peak of your jump, you can swing over the next thing. You know, Casey Neistat does the whole like swinging from vine to vine. You got let go of one to grab the next. That's what you got to do, but you don't swing on the vine and then wait till you're falling back down to try and jump to the next one. You got to swing from the vine. When you're at your peak, you jump and grab the next one. So that's what I did. I didn't throw Snapchat away. I'm still doing Snapchat, and I still loved it. I still did Free Stuff Fridays every now and again, but I started focusing on YouTube, and I focused really hard for an entire year, and through a bunch of different strategies and whatever that we won't talk about, I was able to hit 1 million subscribers in about a year's time on YouTube, which was incredible, and now I have a new platform, a new audience, a new way to do brand deals, and I started getting creative with that. Same thing. How do I make the brand the hero? How do I develop opportunities on YouTube to make money? Let's talk about one of those opportunities. Brand comes out to me and says, hey, we have this new product coming out. It's like a frozen thing. It's kind of like nachos, but they're like inside out. And like, we want you to do a cool branded thing. Like, we don't really care what you do, but just do it. I wasn't supposed to have my phone with me. Sorry. Just do it. Let's think of something cool. And they're like, we really think it would be cool. Like the brand was kind of jazzed about this idea that like you eat the product with your clothes inside out. Ugh. I was like, I don't know. It's not really that crazy. And they're like, oh, but it's inside out because they're like inside out nachos. Or like, what if you like ate it outside instead of in your house or something? I was like, yeah, like guys, like let's get creative. Like give me a day to think about this. Like if we want this to work, I got to make the brand the hero. I can't just do some corny thing and then shout out the brand. It's going to feel weird. So I thought about it. I was like, what does my audience love to see? They love to see me have fun. They love to see me be me. I love snowboarding right now. It's like December, and there's no snow on the ground yet. I wish there was snow on the ground. What if I went up to the mountains and got snow, but instead of snowboarding outside, I did it inside out, and I snowboarded in my house? That's an idea that my audience would love. Snowboarding in the house. Hey, that's a great title and thumbnail, too. Okay. And so like, we went with this whole snowboarding in the house idea. The brand was cool enough to be like, yeah, let's do it. Like, as long as you can still hit this talking point and show the product, like, we're on board. That's good for the brand to be able to be on board. If the brand would have stuck to like, no, this guy, like upper division of the company really likes the inside out clothes thing. We really want you to do that. That's kind of like the campaign we pitched them. We would have done clothes inside out. I would have done it because I wanted to do the brand deal. And my audience would have been like, that was weird. Like little kids would have been like, that's silly. And adults would have been like, dude, really? And like, it just would have been weird and it wouldn't have got that many views. But because the brand met me in the middle and said, I like that, let's run with it. And because I came up with an idea and a way to make the brand the hero of this really funny project, we went for it and it just worked. We drove my car up. I didn't have a truck at the time and I was like calling buddies, couldn't get a truck. I do everything last minute. It's a bad idea, don't do that. And so I literally filled my car with snow, and I just like threw snow in there, drove back down, dumped the snow into my house. I invited all these friends over, like 10 snowboard buddies of mine from Utah. We started lining up the house. My wife works 1 day a week. We accidentally planned it on that one day she had work, weirdly enough. And I was super hyped that I was like gonna do this whole thing, and then at the end of the day, she probably wouldn't even notice, and then when she saw the video the next day, I'd be like, oh yeah, it was like a brand deal. Don't worry, we made some money off it. Like nothing was hurt. It was just like this little thing me and a couple buddies did. But really, it was like intense. Like at one point, we moved my table over, and we're like jumping up and grinding the table. I don't know how that seemed like a good idea. But we started this entire brand deal, and we're killing it, and we're like, we got all the snow in there, we're shredding. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. My wife calls me, and I'm like, oh, shh, guys, mellow, make it look like it's not too crazy. Hey, babe, what are you doing? I'm just filming a video. It's a brand deal. Don't worry, it's a good brand deal. Like, what are 20 people doing in my house, and why are you snowboarding on my table? I'm like, what? How do you know that? The Vivint cameras we set up last week? Oh, yeah. Hey, babe. Yeah, we had set up cameras the week before. That was a little weird. I wasn't used to the whole camera in the house thing. So, Vivint's great, but just think twice before you do stupid stuff in your house with the cameras on. I got my revenge, though. Last month, my wife was getting my daughter out of the crib and tripped over the rocking chair. Like, totally did an awesome wife move and, like, fell and saved her and, like, cradled her in her arms, and then she got wrecked and stuff. And then I happened to see that clip on the thing. Like, I go through. I was traveling at the time, and I always go through and watch her put my daughter to bed and, like, kind of have those moments a little bit through the camera, which is really cool. Vivint, where you at? I love it. And so I was watching that moment, and I saw her trip when she's getting my daughter out in the morning. I'm like, that's going in the vlog. So she had no idea it was coming. The next thing you know, it's in the vlog. And she's like, why'd you do that? I'm like, well, don't trip on camera. So that was awesome. Anyways, this brand deal worked out incredibly. We had a ton of fun. I think the video got 600,000-ish views, which is above average for me at the time, like way above average. It was an awesome brand deal, only positive feedback. It was super cool. And it was like, man, that was a win. I created good content. Everyone thought it was cool. Everyone was curious to try the things. We even gave away a bunch of free stuff, like, favorite comment or whatever. We're going to give you a bunch of this food. And so we sent food out to all these fans. And I got pictures like a month later of fans just like eating food, like all this stuff. It was super fun. So it was like a win-win-win-win-win situation. And that's what you need to look for when you're doing a brand deal or a collaboration or a personal push to your own content. So that was YouTube. Back to the notes. Someday I'm going to get really good and not have notes. Don't worry. Okay. So why do we do brand deals? Like, what makes brand deals so important? Everything we're here for, this entire industry, digital media, it revolves around brand deals. Yes, you can make AdSense on YouTube, but essentially AdSense is a brand deal that YouTube's doing, collaborating a brand and you to put their video in front of your video. And so pretty much everything's brand deal. You think about like a billboard. That's a brand deal that a brand made with the billboard company to feature their content for a certain amount of time, and maybe they have to put hashtag ad. Why don't billboards have to put hashtag ad? I just had that thought. That's not fair. I'm going to tweet that later. You better like it. Follow me on Twitter. Anyways, a billboard is an ad. A commercial is an ad. A role that plays in front of your favorite website is an ad. Like, brand deals run business. Success comes from doing brand deals, being able to work with brand deals. When I think about all the businesses I've built over the years, they all hinge on brand deals. Snapchat, there's no AdSense. You can't even share my stories. The app's really weird. But in order to be successful and build a business out of that, which I wanted to be the first person to do that, I had to be able to generate revenue and do brand deals. And we crushed it. I did way more revenue in brand deals on Snapchat my very first year on the app than I could have ever imagined doing. Same with the second year, same with the third year. Like, brands want to tell their story, and I gave them a platform to do it, and I did it in such a unique way that more brands wanted to work with me. On YouTube, I started doing my brand deals. I did it in such a way that it drove engagement. There's comments. People are winning free stuff. I'm telling a story, and the story wouldn't happen if it wasn't for that brand. I actually looked at it when I was writing this talk just because I was curious, like, my revenue that comes in through YouTube. And I was like, AdSense versus brand deals. It sounds like a made-up number because it's so perfect, but the exact cut of money made from revenue versus brand deals was about 10%. 1/10 of my YouTube revenue comes from AdSense. I don't know if I said that backwards the first time. 1/10 comes from AdSense. The other 9/10 comes from partnering with awesome brands who support me. And that's not at all unfair or like, it's not that I'm taking advantage of these brands. It's like we're sharing their message. We're pushing their product. Some of the deals I've done with these brands have pushed so much revenue and sales that it was a drop in the bucket for them to pay me to push their product because of the sales and the coverage and the publicity and the hype that it generated. So it's really a win-win situation if you do it correctly. If you do a weird shout out for a brand, you look bad, people don't like the movies, the brand doesn't get anything in return, they think influencer marketing, digital marketing is weird, and it just kind of kills the ecosystem, which unfortunately happens with, 70% of brand deals or something like that. They're just not done right. And that's why it's so important to have connections with people in this room who can help you do that, connections with brands who are gonna meet you in the middle, connections with creators. There's amazing creators. Like, I personally know like half the creators in this room, and they're smart people. They're at this event, they're learning how to do brand deals. They're not at home just doing whatever and then getting cheap brand deals here and there and not doing them right. Like, it's so important that you do that stuff. Moving on. My entire eSports business, I'm building a business out of eSports right now, kids playing video games. The entire ecosystem of that is built off brand deals, revenue from partnerships. I wasn't just gonna throw a ton of money at these little kids and say, here's a ton of money, play video games and see if we win. That didn't seem like a good business plan. But what did seem like a good business plan is that all these connections, all these brands, they wanted exposure. They want to dip into this gaming market. Gaming's huge. In the 90s, everyone wanted to be a sports athlete. I wanted to be a pro soccer player. It was Stockton to Malone, Michael Jordan. Like, it was hot stuff, Steve Young, whatever it is. And then that turned into 2000s, which was like X Games. It was extreme sports. Tony Hawk did the 900. Shaun White was killing it. X Games was invented, like backflips, whatever. Travis Pastrana, like, everyone wanted to be, that was my generation too. In high school, I wanted to be a pro snowboarder or skateboarder or something. Now we're in the 2010s. Guess what kids want to be in 2010s? They want to be an eSports athlete. They want to stream video games. They want to make YouTube videos about gaming. They want to be a competitive gamer. They're going to local tournaments. There's colleges that have gaming teams on them now. Like, the world is changing, and brands want to change with it. Brands want to be in front of those eyeballs in front of eSports. I saw that, and I built a business off it that was at no risk to me, or very little risk. It's essentially partnering brands with the right gamers who have a huge following or a huge skill set that they can prove in tournaments. Some of these gaming tournaments, are you ready for this? I'm not pitching gaming right now. I'm just like sharing the information. Some League of Legends esports thing, I'm not really involved with it, but it's like one of the biggest, it was the biggest video game out there for the past couple of years. The recent tournament they did had more views than Game 7 of the NBA Finals this year. Game 7, like, this is the deciding game. If you care about basketball at all, this is the game you need to watch to know who takes it all this year. And this esports team playing another esports team, these kids playing video games, had more people watching them play video games than Game 7 of the NBA Finals. Granted, that audience is global. Granted, that audience is younger, so they can log on their phones really quick. I don't think anyone like whips out Game 7 on their phones really quick. I mean, it's possible, but usually you create an event for that, so it's just more accessible. But it doesn't matter if it's more accessible. It's still eyeballs. It's still a generation that brands want to touch base with. And through esports, we're able to do that. So I had a light bulb go off. I love building businesses. I love transition. I love swinging from vine to vine. What if I position these brands to be able to have this incredible reach? If an esports tournament gets that much reach, why can't I get one of these brands, B&H Photo, Vivint, whoever they are, why can't I get one of them to support one of my teams and get all those eyeballs when my team goes to compete? Or get all those eyeballs when my team streams. When streamers are streaming video games, the average watch time is like 2 to 4 hours. It varies a lot depending on what game you're playing and what streamer you're watching. But imagine a YouTube video with a 2-hour watch time average. You would want to be a sponsor of that video. That's what streaming is, and that's what we've tackled with gaming. Again, this isn't a gaming pitch, I'll move on, but I'm just opening your eyes to this new opportunity. Like Gary was talking about voice. Voice is huge. It's Google Voice, it's whatever. Like, I totally believe in that, but I'm an advocate for gaming, and I'm a living advocate of it because in 4 months, we've built an esports machine that is unstoppable. The new biggest game in the entire world is a brand new game that just came out called Battlegrounds, and we captured the #1 team on that game right away. The game's not even out yet. It's like a beta testing thing, and it already has more downloads than any other game out there, computer game. It's not even on Xbox and PlayStation 4 yet. So this Battlegrounds game, PUBG, you might have heard of it as that, is like the next big thing, and we saw early, and we grabbed a team, and that's a new way that we can do brand deals. Okay, moving on. I just got really passionate about that topic. From there, I'll talk about one more business, and then I love like building all these businesses everywhere. That's why I have 13 employees now instead of 1, like I was with VidSummit last year. Another one, we saw an opportunity. I was having YouTubers come up to me and say, I want to get more brand deals. Like, if any of you come up to me after this thing, you're probably like, I want to get more brand deals. How do I do this? Whatever. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But I had YouTubers coming up to me, I want to do more brand deals. I was like, okay, well, maybe I can connect you here and connect you here. And like, pretty soon I was like, man, this is killing me making all these connections. So I put one of my main guys on at Holiday, and he goes, wait, let's build a business where we're not an MCN, we're not an agency, we don't make people sign contracts. Let's just connect them with brands. I mean, once you connect and you start working on brand deal, then you sign a contract like all buttoned up and whatnot. But we're not signing them to us. They can do whatever they want. They're smart entrepreneurs. I have never, ever been signed to an MCN or an agency or anything like that, like exclusively. I've worked with them all. I love MCNs. I love agencies. I love people that do brand deals, but I've never given myself to them. I actually missed out on a huge brand deal. I didn't miss out. I chose not to do a huge brand deal this year because they wanted to sign my YouTube channel and own it, like MC Instructor, and that just wasn't something that I wanted to do. Again, I'm not saying if it's wrong or right, but I'm an entrepreneur and I want to be in control of my main asset, which is my social media content, so I didn't do that brand deal. But if you want to do brand deals and you still can't do that, how do you do that? So we built this business where we just connect influencers with brands they want to work with, or brands that say like, man, we want to work with influencers, but we don't even know how to get into the space. Let me connect you with this guy. He's really good. He'd be a good fit. Let me connect you with, and we built this entire thing, Spacestation Integrations, just off doing brand integrations into people's content. As far as I know, it's a kind of new model. It's not buttoned up. We're not signing people exclusively. We're just helping them with these things, and it's turned into a huge business, so much so that we've hired a lot of employees over there, and now Holiday, who helped me run all my deals, doesn't even have time for me anymore. He's running a business over here, and so now I'm like, okay, I got to figure out my stuff, and like, it's just fun building, and you guys know that because you're here right now. You've built your YouTubes, your podcasts, your social media, your websites, everything. You guys are builders, and the best tool for building is a partnership with someone that believes in what you're building. What I just said seemed like a really good quote. Hopefully someone wrote that down. Tweet me later. All right, I'll cut the brand deals and the business stuff there. I don't even know how much time we have left. I'm the last speaker. I can go as long as I want. Saddle up. All right. So what is a brand deal? This is my last point, don't worry. What is a brand deal? A brand deal is like essentially, I think one problem is people look at a brand deal as like, oh, I need to get that. That's how I make my money. I need to find a brand that I can hurry and pitch, or like a brand that does easy brand deals. I need to do an easy brand deal. Like, I mean, I won't drop any names, but there's those brand deals that you know are super easy. Hurry and download this app and get a little bit of money or something like that. To me, that's not what a brand deal is. I'm super passionate about brand deals. I think it's a new way of marketing and advertising. I think it's a new way that we can look at opportunities as digital creators, and essentially it's like a friendship. Like when I think of some of my best friends, it's a two-way road. Like I provide value to them. They provide value to me. I really believe in what they believe in. We have the same interests. If you have the same interests as your brand, if I do a brand deal for a snowboard company or like the Vivint camera thing, which isn't a brand deal, that was literally just me buying a Vivint camera because I wanted one. But if it was a brand deal, that's so good because I travel so much and I want to check in on my family. I want to see what my family's up to. I want the updates. I want to see my daughter go to bed at night. I want to see my wife trip over that chair every now and again. Like, that's a good reason to do a brand deal with someone, and that's what that relationship needs to look like. It shouldn't be a one-way, like, I get paid, or the brand one-way, like, well, if they don't use these 4 hashtags, they're not part of the campaign because I want to push these 4 hashtags. Like, no one likes 4 hashtags on a post. Like, lighten up, brand, and, like, creator, figure out what the brand's about and see if you're aligned with it. Now, at the same time, I don't want to give the unreal expectation that every brand deal you do is going to be something right up your alley. You give me a call from the CEO of Windex, and I will do a brand deal with Windex. I've never even used Windex before, maybe when I was a kid and I had to do like Saturday chores, but I will find a cool way to do a brand deal with Windex. I will get my entire space station crew, and we will fill super soakers with Windex, and then we'll have a food fight and get food all over our clothes, and then we'll get the super soakers, and the first one that is clean loses because you're shooting them with cleaning material, so if you clean them, you win. I think that makes sense, but I would make a brand deal out of that, and it would be awesome, and my audience would love it. And that's a way to do a brand deal with Windex, which isn't a supernatural fit into what I believe in, but I found a way for us to meet in the middle and make it an awesome story, and I made the brand the hero of the food fight. So that's what I want to challenge you guys to do. When you're looking at brand deals, when you're approaching people, think of that story. Think of that win-win. Think about how you do this so that both parties are benefiting, and if you over-deliver, if you do even better than what they expected, guess what? Windex round 2 is coming up. And more than one brand deals is even better because then you build these long-term relationships with some of these partners, and it's even better. When I do when I shout out B&H Photo for giving me a new camera or something like that, my audience isn't like, brand deal. They're like, dude, every time he goes to New York City, he goes to that store and jokes around with employees and steals their candy because he loves that candy. They let him go downstairs where I've never seen anyone film before and look at the crazy roller coaster that all the cameras go on. Like, they're buddies. He is actually thankful for that camera. They are actually friends. B&H Photo actually cares about his content and watches and comments and tweets him sometimes. Like, this is a real relationship, and it's not weird or uncomfortable to me. That's what a brand deal should be. Back to my notes. All right, we're almost done. I mean, no, man, we're almost done. Who's loving this? You guys loving it? Hey, raise your hands. Yeah. All right. So with brand deals, we're talking about getting creative, everything like that. One more point I want to bring up. I'm building a new house right now. I've never built a house. It's super stressful. I wouldn't recommend it. But because I'm building a house, I looked at it differently. Just how you can look at Snapchat differently, YouTube differently, podcasts. Like, how do you do brand deals with your website? With, say you have a physical product, a traveling show. How do you build a brand deal for that? I don't know. I've never done it, but you can do it. When I was building my house, I started looking at partners like, if I'm going to film all this, and I'm going to make the coolest house ever, and I'm going to have a rock wall in my house, this is a true story, by the way, a rock wall that goes from the bottom story all the way up to the top story. You can either take the boring stairs or you can climb up the rock wall to get there with a self-belay system. That's a good idea for a brand deal. I haven't done it yet, but I'm going to find out who that rock wall, if any of you guys sell rock wall stuff, like, let's talk. But I'm going to find that company, and I'm going to make it a dope brand deal, and they're going to get so much exposure. Every video I make in my house is going to have that rock wall in the background. Every time I have a visitor come by, we're going to climb on that rock wall. He's going to get so much exposure for that it's such a good win-win, and he's helping me fund my house. Now, I will tell you, I've built that relationship with a bunch of people right now, and my house is almost half paid for doing partnerships with brands. That's incredible. Basically like a coupon for 50% off my house because I'm working with brands. That's amazing. And I don't feel like I'm like being rude and taking their money. They're all getting exposure in their own unique ways, and they're all going to be highlights. They're permanently going to be etched into the background of all the content I make. When Gary Vee came to my space station like a couple months ago, and he hung out and we went surfing and he crashed a drift go-kart through my wall and like all this stuff. Like any brands that I partner with, they're in the background of Gary Vee's content, my content, Casey Neistat's content, like all my visitors. Like, that's a great deal. And it's a great win-win. So get creative with your brand deals. You can make it work. We're kind of wrapping up. Back to my notes. Oh my gosh, here we go. Last thing is just sustaining it. Super important, guys. Sustain those relationships. There's brands, some of them are in this audience, that I've worked with for 3 years. When a competitor comes to me, I say no. I politely decline, and I don't just decline, I recommend a buddy. I give it over to Integrations, and Holiday finds a perfect fit. I don't leave them at a dead end. I say, I already have a partnership there. It won't work for me, but I have the perfect guy. Holiday, who's the perfect guy? Okay, yeah, let me connect you with this perfect guy. And we connect them, and they still get their brand deal done. They still drive that value. We're in the mix, helping it be creative, like it's another win-win situation. But I don't turn my back on my partners. You guys can't jump around from Coke to Pepsi to Mountain Dew to whatever. Like, you got to pick your partnerships and go with it and make long-term partnerships, because that's what really matters in digital media. And it is changing. It was kind of Wild West. Everyone was doing brand deals and Vine and like whatever else. But those days are over. Brands are smarter. Agencies are smarter. They're looking for long-term partnerships. So you guys got to play your cards right. Every time you hype a brand on your video, that's cool. But if you don't have a partnership built with them, you're missing an opportunity to work with one of their competitors. If I buy a new car and I'm super hyped on, and I'm like, it's in all my videos, everything else, and then I want to do a partnership with another car company, that option's kind of out because I just hyped up this other car so much. Now if I work with someone else, it's going to feel weird and unauthentic. So I don't want to say you do like weird, boring, bland content, but like be careful with who you're promoting and who you're partnering with. Like, do everything strategically and find those partnerships. And I'm not saying chase money. Like, I would say over half of my partnerships with brands are unpaid. It's just like, hey, you hooked me up with this, I give you a shout out here, I love you, I always eat here, like whatever it is. Like, sometimes they're paid, sometimes they're not. But start there. Find a good unpaid sponsorship that can hook you up, and you promote them in a way, and they're able to promote you in a way. Like, it's a good relationship ecosystem. Money doesn't even need to be involved, and that gets you used to it, and then you get to that level of incorporating money and whatnot. All right, last thing. I keep saying last thing, but this is literally the last bullet note, is how. You guys are like, how do you get brand deals? There's no answer. There's no like trick to getting brand deals, but I will tell you there are tricks to getting brand deals. That sounded weird. There's not a specific trick, but there are things you can do that are smart. I'll tell you this, it's about connections, it's about relationships, it's about the people you surround yourself with. Gary ended here on the stage saying it's so important to connect with all these people, and it's so true. I look out in the audience, I see people I've collaborated with, I see brands that we have a perfect relationship with, I see brands that we've done big dollar campaigns with, I see all these different people, and that's what we need to do. We need to connect with other people. Another little bit of information, you don't need to be greedy. Just because I say I haven't signed to an agency at like full commitment exclusivity doesn't mean I haven't used agencies. Agencies are awesome. There's so many good ones here today that I work with all the time, and my awesome relationship with those agencies and those people that help me do that stuff, that's where my success really comes from. I would say almost every single deal I've ever done since 3 years ago, I've given 10%, 15%, 20% to an agency or a company or someone who connected the dots or a finder's fee or whatever. I don't need to take 100%. I'm not greedy. I want to build that relationship and give them 20% for helping me because they have the connections. They have the warm intro. They are going to make the campaign smoother. They're going to help be the middleman. You need a middleman. It's weird. Like if a brand calls you and says, hey, actually we want X, Y, or Z, and then you're like, do you want to pay me more money? And it's like this weird relationship. It's super weird. If you have a middleman, brand calls you, you're like, yes, I'm hyped. I have the best idea. We can do this. We can do that. Like, oh, I'm so excited. I have this idea where we'll go over here. And then they're like, okay, cool. Like, what about like the money thing and the travel? Like, do we need to pay for your flights? It's like, man, I don't know. Like, work that all out with Holiday. Get the details. I'm hyped on this, though. I've got some really good ideas. And then Holiday can hit him and be like, look, if he's going to be away from home for 3 days, we need X. You're going to need to do Y, like whatever it is, and he can help negotiate that. I don't need to take 100% of the deals home. I need to take home 80%, and I need to crush it with content because I want to go round 2 with that deal. Don't be greedy. Network. Let people help you. They're here to help. My first Snapchat deal was with Gary Vee. I could not have done my first Snapchat deal by myself. I had no idea what I was doing. If you guys haven't done a brand deal, you probably have no idea what you're doing. And yeah, it's a learning process, but it's so much easier if you have someone helping you. That's kind of the end of my talk, guys. I love brand deals. I love marketing. I love advertising. I love the whole digital space. I love you guys. I'm trying to talk to as many of you as I can. I'm going to be here the entire VidSummit. Thank you for coming. We're going to do it again next year, even bigger, even better. I have so many of my big social media friends that are hyped to come out next year. So it's really going to be a cool event. And right now I want to kind of open it up for Q&A. But first, we can all clap because I did a good job. Yeah. Thank you. This is the backyard. There's a volleyball net. We didn't find that volleyball net until last night. It was a little too late. Didn't get to use it. All right, how did you like the talk? Hopefully you found it interesting, entertaining, insightful, something. Now I want to share with you guys everything we've got going on at the space station, so as you see what's going on and people coming in, you're up to date with what's going on. You know, teamwork. So all the same Shonduras stuff. We do Snapchats, we do YouTubes, we travel, we speak, we do consulting for big companies like Viacom and Taco Bell, all about digital media strategy, that kind of stuff. All the Shonduras stuff continues to be amazing, and we're still doing it. When it really got interesting is when Holiday came on. I had built this lineup of businesses all based around content and social media. It was Snapchat, it was YouTube, it was speaking. That business was great, but the main problem is it wasn't scalable. Everything required me. I had to be speaking, I had to be creating the content, I had to be connecting with the brands, and I had editors like Brandon and Tall Chicken that helped make everything come together, but ultimately it wasn't scalable. If you want a successful long-term business, you gotta be able to build scale to it. So after a few months of working with me, Holiday started chasing something that I had always wanted to do, and he knew how to do it perfectly. We were gonna build a business out of working with these brands and working with agencies and people who want to tell a cool story on social media. We wanted to work with them, connect them with the most awesome creators who do really cool creative stuff, and create amazing brand campaigns, cool sponsored videos, stuff that we could actually be proud of and we were excited to do. So Holiday started setting up the business side of how we could help people do brand deals. I started getting a bunch of creators ready, like, hey, do you want more brand deal flow? Like, we'll only work with cool brands and do dope videos. And then we all came together and we built Spacestation Integrations. It's essentially just branded integrations into really cool content. And now that has become the main focus for Holiday and Marcos and Albert, and it's going amazing and it's super exciting, and we have lots of big announcements there, and we do cool stuff. Like one of my buddies, creator friends, I'll leave it anonymous, we just did a deal with him, and once the brand paid us, we're like, instead of just giving him a check, it's like, what if we just gave him a briefcase full of $1 bills? So we went to the bank, they're like, it will take us like a week to get that many $1 bills, because it was like thousands on thousands on thousands of $1 bills. And so we waited, and eventually we delivered a briefcase full of $1 bills. Anyways, that's some of the behind the scenes stuff that you guys never really get to see. That's Spacestation Integrations. We also started Spacestation Gaming. We saw an opportunity to be able to support some eSports athletes, basically doing what they loved. It was the same as like me trying to like figure out how to generate income from Snapchat. We helped these guys generate income from playing video games and being the best skilled players in their game and practicing and doing content and streaming. I just love the hustle and I love gaming, and I think that there's a lot of opportunity there. Our first opportunity to get into esports was a game called Smite. It was like the 6th or 7th most popular esport video game. We found a really great team, moving up the ranks fast. We started supporting them every month, and by the end of the season, they were #1 in North America. It was really exciting. It was a really cool feeling. It was fun to watch it all unfold. So we started looking for more opportunities, and now Spacestation Gaming is cranking. That's a main focus for Pookie and for RJ and for Gil, the guy with all the cool cards. We launched Battlegrounds YouTube channel. We have a Spacestation Gaming YouTube channel. We have a Spacestation Gaming Twitter. Follow us. Esports is absolutely exploding. We have lots of really cool ideas about how we're gonna do it differently. We're gonna focus on content. We're gonna focus on the best players for some of the smaller games that are growing and becoming a bigger deal. Ultimately, we just wanna fully support people to like chase their dreams of being a professional esport athlete. And once they've achieved those dreams and Spacestation Gaming's helped them get there, they're like ride or die. Like, we're building an esports org that's like a long-term awesome commitment for the players and for us, and it's exciting. Esports is kind of a new space, and there's lots of people just throwing money around. We're trying to be some of the first people to do it really strategically and position it from like a social media standpoint and bring in sponsors and brands that like want to be a part of that world but haven't known how to do it. It's really exciting stuff. Guys, there's so much going on in the space station right now, and we have one really, really huge surprise that we're announcing next week. Next week, huge surprise. You guys are gonna be super excited about this one. Really long video. Hope you enjoyed the talk, or hope you enjoyed skipping to the end just to hear about all the space station businesses. Love your guys' guts. Come back tomorrow for a best day ever. We're getting out of this cabin. We're meeting Jenny and Adley at Disneyland. It was YouTube, it was speaking, everything was based around me and producing. You guys almost just fell.